Hi, the example 3 of block payments. So this example is similar to the first example, but since the block payments often appears the exam, so that we will have another example. Okay, so the example, the Zach becomes 40 years old today. At birthdays, the Zach, maybe it's confused. So he will receive the following amount, and suppose that annual effective interest rate is 2.5%, and calculate the present value. So birthdays, they're at 60 to 64, 60, 61, 62, 63, 64. So he receives the $100 each, and 65 to 69. So for those birthdays that he receives $150, and 70 to 79 that he will receive $200 each. So this is just the typical example of block payment. So only the difference is that he is now 40 years old, and the first payment is at 60. So we have difference in the difference of 20 years, or maybe if you skip 0, that so except for time 0, that we skip 19 years. Okay, so we think about the time diagram of this annuity. So we set the 40 years old at time 0. So this is 40 years old. So this is time. So time unit is year, but t is equal to 0 means 40 years. And this is, okay, so time 1, time 2, up to 19. He will not receive any amount. At 20, he will receive $100. And so 64 years old means t is equal to 24. So basically we shifted to 40 years. So we have 100 each at time 20 to 24. Then at time 25 to 29, he will receive 150. Then time 30 to 39, he will receive $200. So now that we want to calculate the present value of this annuity. Yeah, and I is equal to 2.5%. That means V is equal to 1 over 1 plus I, so 1.025. So this is a little less than 0.975. So actually this is 0.97561 approximately. And okay, so we calculate this. So yeah, so there are several ways to go, but okay, so the point is that still this is a special case of block payments, because if we think about the 0 from 1 to 19, this is still the block payment. So in the previous example, there are no zeros, but now that we assume that just we have another payment, but just the amount is $0 from t is equal to 1 to 19. Then, so this payment is calculated by the linear combination of a right angle n. So we start with the longest cash flow. So we start with 200 each. From time 1 to time 39. Then the next payment. Okay, so now that we matched this 10 payments. So next one is 5 payments of $150. That is $50 less than the last 10 payments. So we subtract $50 for time 1 to time 29. Then, okay, we matched this 150, this block. Next one is 5 payments of $100. So again, that we subtract $50, but this time for 24 years. And now that we matched this part with this, then $0. So that is $100 less than this 100. So negative 100, negative 100, negative 100. So now we think about just 4 sequence, the 1, 2, 3, 4, 4 sequences of payments. And the present value is summation of these 4. So the first one, the 200 times a right angle 39. And the second one is negative 50 times a right angle 29. And the third one, we have 50 times a right angle 24. And the last one is negative 100 times a right angle 19. So these are 4 payments. This is 1, this is second payments, series of payments, the third and the fourth. And you can use the BA2 plus or by formula that you can get, this is, okay, so 200 times 1 minus v to the power n. So that is, yeah, so v39 over I minus 50 times 1 minus v29 over I minus 50 times 1 minus v24 over I minus 100 times 1 minus v19 over I. So you can plug in I is equal to 0.025 and v is equal to 0.97561. Then you can get the answer. And yeah, so this becomes $1,531.25. So $1,531. So we can double check the amount. We can double check the amount. Okay, so what's the payment? Total payment $100 times 5. So this is 500, and 5 times 150, so 750. And the last 10 years, 200 each, so 2,000. So in total, the 3,250. But this is further away. So at least the ZAC has to wait for 20 years to get a payment, right? So the 20 years later, the payment starts, and the I is equal to 2.5%. So even simple interest rate for 20 years is 50%. So at least 50% more. But we have the compounding every year, and also the sum payments are even the 40 years, 39 years further away. So the present value is just a little less than half of the total payment amount that can be justified.